What's going on, everybody? This is Scott, also known as ChaChingKing, and as promised last week when we created our new eBay sellers page, I said that this week we'll come out with a video on how to list your first item. And so today I've picked out a hat for you, and I'm going to show you the entire process that it takes to get my first item listed. This is a brand new account, and there's no store subscription to it, so it's going to look very much like your new account. So I'm going to step over to the computer and let's get started. So from the Seller Hub, which is where I start almost all of my tutorial videos, we're going to go to where it says listings right here, and we're going to create listing. Now, you can use a template. You can look for what you're listing for. I prefer myself to just start with something fresh of my own, but you can look for what you're going to do. So this is a vintage polo flag hat. Let's see if we can find it. Okay, if I don't see what I'm looking for right away, I'm going to continue without a match because I'm not interested a whole lot in what they've got anyway. So I'm just going to continue without a match. Mine is pre-owned. And now we're going to continue to the listing. So again, if you see something that's very similar, you can copy that ad. But remember, copying an ad might make it easier because some of the things are preloaded, but you're also making the assumption that the things that were preloaded were accurate. And that's not a given. So I like to start with something that's all fresh and all mine. So now that we have got a start, let's go ahead and keep rolling. This is the welcome to the new listing tool. If you're new, it's new to you anyway. Every time it updates, for me, it's harder because it's not what I'm used to. So we're going to close that out. One of the first things that you need to do is to take your photos. And so what I've done when I took the photos of this hat is I literally started with the most basic setup. There's an overhead light and 2 pieces of foam core, and that's it. There's no special lighting, nothing that you wouldn't have access to right from where you're working. So the next step is to get the photos from my phone to the computer. And so what I do is right here, I have an Android, and this takes a USB-C, and I plug this into my computer. And when I do that, my memory is full. So I'm going to open the internal storage, and then the one that says DCIM, that's where my pictures are going to be. And it's going to be that way, at least on all the Samsungs. And I'm going to go to camera. And they will be at the very bottom. And it might take a minute just because my phone is completely loaded up. All right, here we go. So now I'm going to left click right here. And at the bottom, I'm going to hold the shift key down and right there. And that highlights all of my hat pictures. And I'm going to drag them over to where it says Scott's phone. And so once those are copied over, now I can go back to my listing and start uploading the photos to that. So back on this page, complete our listing, we're going to upload our photos. And if I'll go to my desktop where it says Scott's Photos, here they are, I am going to do the same thing. I left click on the first one, and then I hold the shift key down and open the last one. This will open all of the photos. It's going to upload all of them to the eBay website. And then I can decide whether or not they need any additional work. And I will edit some of them just so that you can see how to edit a photo. All right, so my pictures are uploaded. The first one, the main photo right here, looks pretty good. So I'm going to leave that be. Really, truly, the only one that needs work is the last one. I'm going to click on the little pencil. That is how you edit your photos. And you can tell that my writer is sideways. I can click the button on the far left, will rotate it. This number, the one with the sun in it, that is the brightness and contrast. I can turn those up or turn those down. This one really doesn't need any work. I'm not going to remove the background. but you could enhance it a little bit. I tend to not want to enhance my photos for eBay a whole lot unless there's something wrong with them. I want them to see exactly what I have. Okay, so now my photos are uploaded. We're going to move down to the title. And right now, all it says is vintage polo flag hat. That's what that initial search was. You have up to 80 characters. And I think it's really important to use all 80 characters. So we're going to put a lot of the same things. Vintage polo flag hat. It's also denim. It is a leather strap back with a buckle. Vintage polo. It's going to be the 90s. It's blue. And if I think of something else, we'll come back to that. I'm going to go now and I'm going to copy that title. I copy the title so that I have it to use when I do my description. If these were accurate, you could click select all and it would fill in those item specifics for you. But they're not accurate, and for me, they're almost never, it seems like they're never accurate. The item category is good. The brand is polo. The style is either a dad cap or a baseball cap. We'll put baseball cap. And the size, if I scroll down, it's one size. This one is adjustable. And let's say that I don't like what's there. You'll notice here at the top, I can put in adjustable. The color is blue. Department is men's. The UPC is not applicable. For features, you can look through here and find if any of these apply to you. Adjustable obviously will work. I always like to put in something there if I can. The pattern is flag. And the occasion, casual. And the material is denim. I don't see denim. I can put denim, but I can also put cotton. But I think they put the fabric type, so we'll put cotton. Here's what I like to do. On the condition, I want to tell exactly what's wrong with it. This hat's in nice condition, and I don't want to oversell anything. I want them to know this is a true vintage hat. When I get down to the description, I'm going to paste my title, and I'm also going to get the condition description up here. And I am going to repaste that there. And now I'm not going to do an auction. I only do an auction where something is really highly sought after, that it has none available, and it's obvious that I know what the floor is where I can start my auction, but I have no idea how high it'll go. If I already know it's going to go to a certain amount, I'm going to list it at that amount. On this hat, this is probably a $30 hat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put buy it now. And I will tell you that when they look at the median sold prices, you can't depend on that very much. I don't think they're very accurate. But we could start it higher. We could put $44.99 because I am going to, and I only have one, make sure you don't accidentally put 10 or something there. But where it says allow offers, I'm going to allow offers because I want offers, because I sell more if I have offers on. But it also gives me a chance to look at the feedback that the potential buyer leaves other sellers, and I like to see that. Volume pricing, if you've got a lot of something or you're trying to encourage people to buy more than one item, then you might turn that on. This store was literally created for this hat, so a volume wouldn't help me at all. Scheduling your listing is like if you were going to be on vacation, but you wanted stuff to go live the whole time you were gone, that would be something that you would do. We're not going to do that. We want it to go live as soon as it's ready. So let's talk about shipping. I know that this is going to be a small to medium item. If you click this down arrow, this is a new account. There's not going to be much there, but I can leave that as it is. I know that this hat, denim is going to be a little heavier. This is probably going to come in at 12 ounces. And my hat boxes, which work great, by the way, I do have a video for how to ship a hat, and I will put it at the end of this video, because I've never had anybody complain about how my hats show up. My hat boxes are 8 by 8 by 4. I don't do calculated costs, although you very well could. If you are not sure of how much to charge, but you are sure of the weight and dimensions of the box, you can use calculated, and that way you won't lose any money. I click right here and I use the flat cost for all of the buyers. With this hat being 12 ounces, it isn't going to cost me over $6, or not much more than that, even if I ship it all the way to Alaska or Hawaii. So I'm going to put $5.99. If you put free shipping, then you have to make sure you've charged enough for your item to cover shipping, because you still have to pay shipping. All right, I don't use any of the rate tables here. You can add services. If I wanted to, I could come in here and I could add a service for like priority mail at Christmas time, and I could charge more for it. But I won't need to do that for this hat. Now, as we scroll down to preferences, I would never leave 3 business days on there. That will turn people off. So normally we do 1 business day because we ship every day. 2 days, I have never noticed it creating a problem when I put 2 days though. Let me tell you what to do as far as returns go. We accept returns, and here's why. If I check no, and I ship this hat out to somebody and they want to return it, all they have to do is say that it wasn't as described. They could say it looked like a little bit different blue color and it wasn't the same as what I was expecting, and they get to ship it back anyway. So the only people I scare off by not accepting returns are honest buyers who just want a little bit of security. We do 30 days, and I do it where the buyer pays. Now keep in mind, they could lie and they could still send it back at my cost, but it sticks in my craw so much to do free returns. But free returns are not a bad business policy, and all of the other YouTubers that are telling you to offer free returns because it helps your analytics, they're probably right. But this is my business, and it's going to be your business. So you set it up the way that makes you feel the best. Refund, we give the money back. International returns, I would never check international returns. We're not doing that. So I'm going to click done. And that is going to have, notice it'll have changed. It has changed all of that. Do I promote listings? If I'm selling something that there's a ton of competition for it, like say I've got just a modern pair of new Levi's jeans, I might promote it just to fight the other thousands of them that are out there. On this particular polo hat, there's probably not 10 listed that are going to look like it. Probably a very few. So I'm not going to promote it. I've never really noticed a difference with promotions. I will say, if you promote your store or all your things very, very high, and then one day you go in and turn it all off, man, eBay throttles you for that, though. It sure seems like it to me. So, next one. Let's roll on down. Preferences. On payment, do I require immediate payment? I do. If you have a store, if you watch The Auction Professor, and I'm sure you do, everybody does, he sells a lot of cards and things like that people, postcards and pictures and photographs. There's a good possibility that somebody's going through a store and they want to buy a bunch of things and then get an invoice for them. If that's the case, if that's the kind of store you've got, then you wouldn't want to turn on require immediate payment, because then you got to make a refund every time they're done. So I have one item, and most of the stuff in my regular store, I sell one item at a time. So I require immediate payment. He is the one that explained it well enough to where I can understand why it's an option to turn it off, because for him it makes absolute sense. And then I list it. Now, they're going to verify my account details. Once you create a listing, then there are things you're going to have to do that you couldn't do when we set up our account. They've got my name, they've got my phone number. They don't have my birth date in here. That's optional. This is optional, but at some point, once you pass up $600, they have to have that information because they have to report it to the government. Our listing is now live. And that really is all there is to listing your first item. Sure, some things will change depending upon what you're selling. You may have different pictures, but the process is going to look very, very similar to what I've just done. Once you've done the first listing, the trick is to do the second, and you keep rolling. eBay will automatically favor active accounts. You're going to be limited with a new account to probably 10 items and or $500, whichever you get to first. But if you are following through with your sales and customers are happy, you can get that limit raised fairly quickly. And that's pretty much all there is to that. I've got a lot of other beginning tutorial videos, but right now, let me show you how to pack a hat up when it sells.